You're on the Couch Cage side with your host, Kyle Delaney for CouchFire.co. And in this installment, I like to break down and predict the upcoming matchup between Frankie the Answer Edgar and Ben Smooth Henderson. Now, this fight's going to be taking place at UFC 144 in Japan. And this fight is the main event, and it's for the lightweight championship of the world and of the UFC. Now, this fight, you have two fighters who fight with unbelievable toughness and an incredible amount of heart. Both guys do not lay back and quit. They have a lot of mental toughness, a lot of physical toughness. We're going to get our bang for our buck with this fight. You're going to see a bunch of action. There's going to be stand-up. There's going to be ground. There's going to be submission attempts. We're going to see absolutely everything. Now, you have Frankie the Answer Edgar, great boxer, background in wrestling. You have Ben Smooth Henderson, Taekwondo, Muay Thai, great wrestler, good submission guy. We're really going to see these two guys go to war, and they're going to put on a show for us. So what I'll do in this, I will break down the two fighters, then I'll do my prediction. So first I'll do Ben Smooth Henderson. Ben Henderson is a good stand-up fighter. I'm not going to say he's the better stand-up fighter in this fight, but he's the more versatile and dynamic striker in this fight. He has a background in Taekwondo, a black belt in Taekwondo to be precise and exact, and he also practices Muay Thai. We're going to see everything from Ben Henderson. He doesn't just throw his hands. He's been throwing his hands more lately. We saw this in the Guida fight. He likes to brawl a little bit. He likes to mix things up because he has a great chin. He throws his hands. He has pretty quick hands. He has more striking power in this fight. He has a lot more power than Frankie Edgar. And the thing about Bendo is that with his Taekwondo background, he throws a lot of leg kicks. He throws it to the legs, throws it to the head. You never know what to expect from the guy. He gives you multiple looks. Not to mention, with his Muay Thai background, he's great in the clinch. He can dirty box. He throws hands in the clinch. He throws knees. And really, he's got a lot of power for this division. He's got a pretty good frame as well. He's a big guy for the division. The one thing about it is that he has a 70-inch reach. He has a pretty good frame, but the reach advantage is kind of interesting. He's a 5'9" fighter, the taller fighter, the bigger frame fighter in this fight, and he's going to throw his hands. But the interesting thing is that he does not have the reach advantage in this fight. He has the disadvantage. He has the 2-inch reach disadvantage in this fight to Frankie Edgar, who is the shorter fighter. But in regards to that, his stand-up is good. It's very refined, and you know, he can knock out guys, but more, his bread and butter is if he gets you in the clinch or he gets a hold of you, he's going to use his All-American wrestling background. He's a very decorated wrestler. When he gets a hold of you and he does push the pace, he fights very high octane, just like Frankie Edgar. He's going to bring the fight to you. If he gets a hold of you, you're going to go down. The thing is that Ben Henderson has fought good wrestlers, and he has really been the better wrestler in all those fights. If he gets a hold of you, he's going to slam you, he's going to double leg, he's going to single leg, he's going to get you down to the ground. So he can fight well out of the clinch, but he also can shoot for the takedown, and this is where his fighting style really shines. And like I'm going to refer back to the Jim Miller fight. The Jim Miller fight really embodies everything that is good about his fighting style. Really a perfect fight for him is that he is going to bully you, and he bullied Jim Miller, a very qualified fighter in the lightweight division, a guy who has only lost only a few fights. So he really bullied Jim Miller. He got Jim Miller down to the ground. He implements some of the most deadly ground and pound. And just because Jim Miller's chin is literally made of solid concrete and can take a beating, is the only reason he didn't TKO the guy. He can posture up, he can control guys on the mat, and he can posture up and lay down some heavy, heavy ground and pound. He implements elbows, he uses his hands. He's pretty dynamic when it comes to the ground and pound. He throws a lot of elbows. So he postures up, throws down good strikes. But here's the thing about Ben Henderson, too. He's got great ground and pound. But the guy also has quite a few submission victories to his resume. He has 8 submission victories on his resume, which is very impressive. The guy has a great guillotine choke. He has some other good tricks up his sleeve when it comes to the ground game. But he is a qualified guy when it comes to the ground. And he only is a brown belt in BJJ. So maybe it's not because he submits guys when he's on the offensive. He's got them dazed and rocked. But Ben Henderson's got some very good submissions, and I don't see him so much submitting Frankie Edgar, but it is a possibility in this fight. So we have a very well-balanced fighter in Ben Henderson. Now here's the strengths and weaknesses with Ben Henderson. He does have the reach disadvantage in regards to weaknesses. I would say he's not the more refined stand-up fighter in this fight. He's not as refined of striker as Frankie Edgar, who's got very good stand-up boxing. And really, strengths for him, he's got a chin of steel. The guy's never been finished before. He's been submitted before, but he's never been knocked out before. Got a chin of steel. We're talking about the guy that took the kick off the cage from Anthony Pettis and still came up and finished the fight. He didn't win the fight, but it went to decision. Not to mention, I'm going to go back and say one more strength for the guy is really that his submission defense is unbelievable. Even though he's been submitted early in his career, he is honestly made of elastic and cannot be submitted. Really, the guy, you think that he's being submitted, like in the Jim Miller fight, there's some tight submissions, you think he's submitted, and he's not. He really cannot be submitted. there's tight submissions, and he gets out of them. And lastly, his frame. He's the bigger fighter in this fight. He said in his last fight he's going to put on the weight, he's going to bulk up, he's going to be the bigger fighter in this fight, and maybe he can outmuscle Frankie Edgar. So those are strengths and weaknesses for Ben Henderson. And he fights a lot of toughness, a lot of heart, like I said before. Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar is one of the best boxers in MMA. He has continued to get better in his stand-up. And the thing is that he's not a stand-in-the-pocket boxer. He's very finesse. He's going to dance around. He's going to pop in and out of the pocket. He does not give you a chance to get a hold of him and get it and hit him. He dictates the pace in the fight. He dances around the pocket. He gives you beyond multiple looks. He gives you a new look every time he pops in the pocket. He pops forward, he throws his hands, and then he's out before you can get a hold of him. The only way you really can is you step forward and you land the strikes. You cut him off. But Frankie Edgar doesn't give you that chance. He comes forward, he throws the hands, throws a couple combinations, then he's out before you can hit him. And he gives you multiple looks. He pops around in his feet, he dodges as he weaves, and he picks his spots. He's a very smart stand-up fighter. He readjusts his stand-up. He always gives you a different look. He always keeps his opponent guessing. So he's very effective in his stand-up. Frankie Edgar's boxing will only be a million times better in this fight with Ben Henderson. And that's a definite guarantee, is that his boxing is only continue to get better from the first BJ Penn fight to the last Gray Maynard fight that he won and was victorious. And lately he's been showing a little bit more knockout power. I'm not going to say knockout power, but he's getting more power in his hands. He's really learning how to use his hands better. So here's the thing, is that we all think Frankie Edgar's this boxer, but his background was in wrestling. He came in, he's a well-accomplished college wrestler. He's the coach at Rutgers. He helps coach there, and his wrestling is incredible. He uses it very well for his size. It really helps set up his boxing, is that people are worried about Frankie Edgar's takedown, that he is a very skilled wrestler. And we saw this countless times. He's taken down Gray Maynard before. He's taken down BJ Penn, two guys with very good takedown defense, and two guys who are very good wrestlers. Maybe not so much BJ Penn. BJ Penn's got very good takedown defense. He's a very underrated wrestler. But Frankie Edgar is a very accomplished wrestler. He gets you in the clinch. He's going to throw his hands. If he gets you down on the ground, he has good ground control. He is not the bigger guy. He uses a lot of his technique to get you on the ground and to keep you on the ground. And he can use ground and pound. But I don't think that's where he's going to shine in this fight. Also with Frankie Edgar, he is a brown belt in BJJ. He trains with Almeida. Trains with Renzo Gracie. He is an accomplished Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu I wouldn't say a specialist, but he can submit fighters. I do not see him submitting Mr. Elastic Ben Henderson, but he is very effective on the ground. So strengths and weaknesses for Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar is the more refined striker. I'll take refined boxing over versatile striking any day. I'll take that dynamic any day. I'll take the really refined boxing against the versatile striker. Another strength is his reach. He has the 2-inch reach. He has the 72 to Bendo's 70. He has a great chin. Frankie Edgar's never been finished before. Every fight has gone to decision for him. He has not been knocked out. He's never been submitted. So maybe Ben Henderson will be the first guy to submit him, but it's going to be a tall task. Also, other strengths for Frankie Edgar, lots of heart, lots of toughness. He's going to give you everything he got, and there's no quit in the guy. I've seen this countless times in the Maynard fight and the BJ Penn fight. There's no quit in the guy. He's going to continue to come right at you until he is completely knocked out or been submitted. He's going to give you everything, just like Ben Henderson will. Weaknesses for Frankie, he's the smaller guy. He's 5'6". He's a small guy for the lightweight division. People have been saying, he should move down a division, but he's the champion, and he's defended his title plenty of times. So in regards to my prediction, this fight is going to be back and forth. We're going to see everything. We're going to see stand-up. We're going to see submissions. We're going to see some ground and pound. We're going to see some wrestling. Really, absolutely everything you can imagine. This one will go the distance, in my honest opinion. And really, when it comes down to it, whoever's going to come out in this one, this is so tough. They're both so tough, these guys. They're going to give us everything that they have. These guys are going to be bloodied up. There's going to be injuries in this fight. And, when it comes down to it in this fight, it's going to go to the decision. And I see Frankie Edgar dictating the pace. He will get to the mat, but he's very slippery. If Bendo could keep him down to the ground and bully him, he might be successful there. But I see Frankie not avoiding the takedowns, but getting up very quickly, and he's going to dictate the pace, and he's going to pick apart Ben Henderson. He's going to take some beating in the process. But I think when this one all comes down, it goes to the decision, I'm going to take Frankie Edgar because he's done it time and time again. He's proved all the doubters wrong. He's been the underdog in almost every single fight he's had since he's defended his title, and he's had the belt. He will defend his title again. He will prove those doubters wrong, and he will come out the victor in this fight. So Frankie Edgar will win this fight against Ben Henderson, the top contender in the lightweight division, by decision. So that's what I have for this edition of the Cage Side Couch. This is Kyle Delaney signing off. I'm out of here.